I haven't done a video in a while. Figure I'll show you this. This is my newest project. This is a Toyota MR2. It's a 1991 MR2, which was, for all intents and purposes, was free. So, if it's free, it's for me. Long story short is I got this from an elderly guy. Older guy, probably about in his 70s. Him and his wife bought this used. It was a certified pre-owned, or whatever you want to call it. Back in 1991, it was purchased new, or leased or whatever. 1993, it was sold as a certified used car at a Toyota dealer in, I believe it was Brookfield, Connecticut. He bought it. Him and his wife drove it in the nicer weather. Really wasn't driven in the winter at all. And wife passed away several years ago. It was just sitting in the garage, and he didn't want it anymore, so he quote-unquote gave it to me. That's kind of a long story, but nonetheless, I have it and I didn't pay anything for it. There's a lot of good and a lot of bad about it. The good is that it was driven by an elderly or grown-up couple. It wasn't modded, it wasn't abused, it wasn't beat on. That's number one. Number two, it was regularly serviced at a Toyota dealer. I have all the paperwork for it. And the stuff that wasn't done at a Toyota dealer was done by a fairly reputable, from what I could tell, mechanic shop. I have the paperwork for that too. It runs well. It's got 174,000 miles on it. Has had 2 timing belt changes during its life, with receipts to match that. The interior is in great shape. The exterior is in great shape. We'll look through it in a minute. Very little rust. The only rust is surface rust underneath. It really wasn't driven on any of the salty roads. It wasn't used in the winter for all intents and purposes. So that was nice. Yeah. So, some of the not so good. It had a Mako paint job at some point during its life. Actually, he saved me the receipt for it, 2014. And if anyone knows Mako, they know, as you can see here, their prep and masking and everything definitely is not great. That's for darn sure. If you go look under the muffler, which is getting a little dark out, hard to see, you can see some red paint on the muffler, where they never bothered to mask anything off. Let's see if we can see that. You can see right there. Yeah, you can see that. So, and I believe that's supposed to be black, that little great piece right there. They also got some paint on the relatively new radiator. That's something I forgot to mention, is it has a new radiator in it. So that's not so great. More about the wires right there in a moment. Has some electrical issues to it. The radio doesn't work, the dash lights don't work, power windows don't work, and the cigarette lighter doesn't work. Not that I'm planning on smoking, but there's definitely some kind of short back there, because when I get in and I shift it to reverse, the radio kicks on. When I put it in the park, the radio goes off. So yeah, so that's going to be something they're going to have to figure out. As far as this, you can see my door panels chewed up. And I'm going to make a little separate video. A problem that's very common to MR2s of this vintage, as well as a lot of the Toyotas, is, well, it has a problem internally with the latch, where the door locks and it won't unlock, thereby pretty much rendering your door unopenable. That was the deal with this this side, with the driver door. I had to fix it, which involved cutting out part of the panel here, which I wasn't happy about doing, but I actually have a replacement panel on the way. Nice, like new one, so I wasn't too concerned about doing that. It's the only way I could get into the door anyway, or open the door. So, that's not so good. And the left speaker doesn't work. The buttons here for the window and the door locks, they didn't work. It's a common problem also on these cars, that right there, if you could see the little rubber boot, that the wires, the door harness, the wires corrode and they break and all that, and they cause stuff to not work in the door. So once I get the panel off, which I only got the door open yesterday, I could check that out and see if I could repair the harness, figure out what's going on with the wiring. I have some cut taped wires here, which I'm not quite sure where they go or even if they went anywhere, as well as some taped wires in there. Some of the taped wires in there I'm told are normal, but you know, we'll have to take a look at that. We'll pop our trunk in our frunk. Otherwise, the interior, besides the little hack job I had to do there, the interior is in really good shape. It was always garage kept, which means the sun wasn't beating down on this. As you can see over there, that door panel's fine. You can see the door parts in the seat right there. The seats are, you know, not even any rips in the seats, in the bolsters or here or anything. You know, you can definitely tell it's been sat in, it's been used, but not abused. A little center console there. Glass is in good shape. Everything's in decent shape. You can see down here. That's water. But the rockers, all in great shape. Never in an accident, so everything's nice and straight. Headlights work. I don't have the key on me, but they go up and down. I actually have the battery disconnected too, to try to figure out my door problem. That's another long story. What else we got? My allergies are killing me, so I'm a little not with it. You have to pardon me. Here's your engine. You can see the morons, the overspray on the engine too. Being that they didn't tape off the bonnet, I guess you call it. They didn't tape it off when they sprayed. There's kind of like a red tinge to the heat shield. There's a red tinge. There's a red tinge everywhere. I get some goof off. The Toyota label right there, the engine label, had a nice red tinge to it. I took a little bit of carb cleaner and rubbed it, and came right off. So I'm thinking once I get in here to clean it, I can take that red tinge off. You can see on the pipe here. Here. Has a new alternator. The last alternator seized up. Got a new alternator down there with a new alternator belt. That's a good thing. A bad thing is that the valve cover is leaking pretty badly over here in the #1 cylinder. I have the valve cover in the spark plug seals. I just have to change it. But you can see how dirty and ucky that is. When I was playing around taking a look at the plugs, which are the wrong plugs as well, Champions, which I'm sure they're equivalents to the NGKs, but I'd rather use the NGKs. Basically, the big nut that holds the valve cover to the down via the spark plug tubes was pretty much loose on 3 of these. So the valve cover is not being held down very well, which is probably another reason that's leaking a little bit, but whatever. We're gonna fix all that up after I get in here and scrub this down a little bit. You can see how nasty it all is in there, and I'm attributing a lot of that to the valve cover not being tight. You know, not a whole lot of mess and slop on this side, but a lot of mess and slop on this side. So, other than that, oh, yeah, you see that? That was the other thing I was going to say. Our trunk has the usual water retention issues that is common with these. As you can see, it all hides up in here. And when you go to open the trunk, well, it all comes down in your trunk. As you can see, that's nice and soaked now. As a matter of fact, the entire trunk is filled with water. How awesome is that? Just got a bad leak. So that's a leak we have to, that's something we have to figure out. And I'd leave this open and let it dry out, but it's supposed to have torrential downpours again tomorrow, so it's not going to be being left open in the sun to dry out anytime soon, because there's going to be no sun. So it's going to have to be the way it is for now. Even though I hate to leave, I'll probably actually mop some of that out with some paper towels or something. before I go back inside. Sorry for the horrible camera work. And our frunk. Oh, trying to do this one-handed. It's my ratchet I use to disconnect the battery. It's good. The AC works pretty well. I'm going to charge it up a little bit before it starts really getting warm. But as you can see, everything's nice and straight. Everything's nice and straight under here. You can see where they oversprayed on here, of course. Nice original spare, that nice plastic piece, everything's in there. There is a another piece I think that goes over this stuff, if I remember correctly. I have that in my shed. There's like a little insert piece. I haven't really played with it and had time to stick it in there, but pretty sure that goes in there. Needs a wiper blade. Needs the end and the wiper blade itself. Actually, both wiper blades need to be replaced, because that one's kind of dry rotted from sitting for so long. Tires and suspension. Tires are okay. Some cheap no-brand tires, probably because I had a problem getting this size tire. Can't see the springs and shocks in there, but they're okay. Could probably use a replacement. Same with these rear tires. They're staggered. The rear tires are a different size, but same cheapo generic tire. In good shape. There's plenty of meat on them. But I'm probably going to try to go with bigger wheels, if for no other reason, just to make it easier to get tires. Because if you haven't tried to get tires for one of these things, putting it in on tire rack is it doesn't come up with hardly any results. So that really doesn't work out real well as far as tires go. Another little view inside. You can see they put a Nakamichi, or Nakamichi? I got it right, Nakamichi radio, which was the recommended aftermarket radio by Toyota, and they put that in there. Didn't do a great job because it doesn't work and it's shorting on something, but we'll take care of that. I know you can't smell it in here, but it was never smoked in. Doesn't smell bad in here or anything like that. It doesn't leak. My moonroof up here does not leak. Sunroof, whatever the hell you want to call it. Again, all in all, it's I know I'm doing a lot of ums and ahs, but all in all, I'm happy with it, especially for the $0 price I paid for it. It's pretty cool. And even if it blows up tomorrow, which I hopefully don't think it will, even if it blows up tomorrow, I know I could sell it to someone looking to do a swap or looking to part it out or something. But hopefully this, for the amount I'm going to drive it, I'm hoping that this is going to last me a long time, because even though it's not a turbo and even though it's a slush box automatic, I think it's a cool little car. So, sorry for the crappy video quality. It's getting dark out here, but I figured I'd just share while I had a few minutes. Take care. Thanks.